Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 4-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings. Before we get into it, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. I would greatly appreciate that. YouTube continues to tell me that about 60% of my audience is not subscribed. So if that is you and you enjoy this content, if you could take 1 second to do that, that would be awesome. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, so thank you to everyone that has supported so far and to everyone that's watching my videos today. So only 4-gamer, not exactly the biggest slate in the world, but there's always an edge. We just got to dig deeper, and we're going to have to be a little more contrarian, maybe play some guys that aren't projected quite as well in projections and kind of try to gain an edge on the field that way, be a little bit more contrarian. If you are interested in some further content from me, I do offer an NBA DFS package over here on Patreon where you can get access to my premium NBA projections, NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play context stats, core plays, injury impact insights, and NBA Discord chat access. All those tools. Get a little bit of a preview on the screen behind me right now of my projections hub, but obviously, you can't see everything behind the paywall. So if you're interested, that's linked below in the description. Let's go ahead and start breaking down this 4-gamer today. Charlotte taking on Washington. This game right now comes in with a 231.5 over under with a 2.5 point spread in favor of the Charlotte Hornets. Russell Westbrook having a huge game last night, putting up nearly 100 DraftKings points. 94.5 DraftKings points, 35 points, 21 assists, 14 rebounds. And, he was a guy that I had mentioned if there was no Bradley Beal, we are going to want to have a lot of exposure to him. And case in point, the guy literally went up and almost put up 100 DraftKings points. So that's what Russ is capable of. And on a back-to-back, I'm sure, he's probably not going to be able to do that again. Maybe he can. I don't want to deny or doubt the guy because he's an absolute beast out there on the floor, but he is in a back-to-back, so just keep that in mind. However, with that being said, if Bradley Beal continues to be out, Russ is still a tremendous play. He might not get you that 94 spot that we saw last night, but would not be surprised in the least to see him put up 60+. And then on the Charlotte side, there continues to be no LaMelo Ball. Malik Monk is listed as questionable. That could actually be a pretty relevant injury. He's listed as probable, though, so I'd expect him to be in. Putting up 32 and 40 DraftKings points the last 2 times out, with there being no LaMelo Ball. Malik Monk definitely taking advantage. And then you got to take a hard look at guys like Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, Devontae Graham. Honestly, all of these guys, when you get the matchup taking on this Washington squad, it is a great matchup. They are not good defensively. And as mentioned, with there being no LaMelo Ball, it's just these guys continue to see their production and stuff climb. My top 3 would be PJ Washington, Terry Rozier, and Gordon Hayward. I think they get the most minutes and are relied on the most. Devontae Graham, Miles Bridges, not bad plays as well, though. As you can see from the recent production, these guys are all having pretty good games, and I'd have interest in all of them, honestly, mixing and blending them in your lineups. You can't play all of them, obviously, and not all of them are going to get there, but playing 2 to 3 guys in your lineup on a 4-game slate against a Washington squad, I have no issue with that whatsoever. So, and then on the Washington side, anyone else besides Westbrook that you'd be looking to? Really, it's going to be Rui Hachimura at 6K. Continues to see a ton of minutes. The guy's playing mid to upper 30 minutes every single game, so have no issue with playing him. Charlotte side's not that great defensively either. And then we have seen Denny Avdija, Raul Neto, and Garrison Matthews. All of these 3 guys see a pretty decent raise in minutes recently, so they all make sense as well. Daniel Gafford making his debut. Last time out is listed as questionable. Had a right ankle sprain. Was off to a really good start in the game. Played 15 minutes, put up 22 DraftKings points. Actually graded out really good in my projections too, so I was happy to see that I was on him, and then he's hurt. So, but keep an eye on that one. If he's out, it's going to be more Alex Len minutes, more Robin Lopez minutes. So, yeah, that's all for that game. Philadelphia taking on Denver, 2nd game on the slate. Joel Embiid continues to be out. This game comes in with a 220.5 over-under with a 4.5 point spread in favor of the Denver Nuggets. So expected to be a pretty close game. We got Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris at the top at 8-7 and 8-5. Both these guys are going to be priorities for me with there being no Joel Embiid, but I will continue to say that I like Tobias Harris a lot more than Ben Simmons because Ben Simmons just continues to be very underwhelming at the price tag. He's got priced up more than Tobias Harris, and Tobias Harris continues to outproduce him. So doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell you we probably want to play Tobias Harris instead. He's cheaper. He's a better shooter. He's just outperforming Ben Simmons on a consistent basis. And honestly, I was kind of thinking with there being no Joel Embiid that Ben Simmons would have a lot more triple-double upside, and he has not even been sniffing anywhere near just a triple-double. So I will say a lot of it has had to do with foul trouble. If you look at the game log, he has had 4, 5, and 6 fouls the last 3 games, so that might be something that the average person doesn't quite catch on to. And he does have upside if he doesn't get in foul trouble, but having some real issues with that as of late. As far as anyone else on the Philadelphia side, you got Dwight Howard, Seth Curry. That'd be the next options. Danny Green as well. All these guys making sense. Dwight Howard's got ejected 2 games in a row. If the guy can just stop with his antics and play the whole game, he's a great play. And honestly, the fact that he's been ejected 2 games in a row, I said this the last time out, and if you would have played him, he would have got ejected again, unfortunately. But I said the guy got ejected. There's probably going to be a lot of people that are mad about it, and they aren't going to play him. Now he's gotten ejected twice in a row. So you double up the people that are in the mad crowd, and you might be getting him lower ownership than you should. So honestly, I would love Dwight Howard in tournaments tonight. I'm sure that I'll be playing lots of him due to that fact. And then on the Denver side, Aaron Gordon has joined the squad, so who that's going to affect will be interesting. He only played 21 minutes last time out. Guys like Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Will Barton, I tend to think are going to be the ones most affected. They're going to be the ones that are top usage guys in the offense outside of Nikola Jokic, and more position-oriented with, directly affected by Aaron Gordon's presence, specifically Will Barton and Michael Porter Jr. But we'll have to keep an eye going forward if maybe he doesn't really affect them. Just buyer beware type of deal. He may take away their upside. Nikola Jokic, on the other hand, I'm not worried about whatsoever. I don't think he changes at all. If anything, having Aaron Gordon on the team takes away a little bit of attention from him and maybe boosts his assist upside. So, still like the Joker. Orlando taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. This game right now comes in with a 10.5 point spread in favor of the Los Angeles Clippers with a 217.5 over under. Orlando just shipped off their whole team. Paul George was listed out last time. I tend to think that this is just pure speculation, but it wouldn't surprise me if Kawhi Leonard just sits out in this one and Paul George plays, because that's what the Clippers do. And if that's the case, I'll definitely like Paul George. If one of these guys is in and the other's out, I'm going to really like the other one. It's just how it's always going to be. And then on the Clippers side, we've seen a lot more minutes out of Ivica Zubac, Marcus Morris Sr. So both these guys are starting to make some sense as tournament plays as well. Last time out, not seeing a ton of minutes, but that game turned into a blowout, because why wouldn't it? Because it was expected to stay close, and that's just how the NBA is this year. So, but yes, those would be the guys I'm really looking to in this one as far as the Clippers side. And then if there's more people out, of course, Luke Kennard got the start last time out with there being no Paul George. If there is no Kawhi Leonard, maybe he gets to start again, put up 31 DraftKings points, and that's what you'd like to see. At only 3.4, he would definitely be a viable option. And then on the Orlando side, all these guys are going to be viable options. If there's no Terrence Ross, all these guys even get a bigger bump in usage and minutes, but I think that Terrence Ross is expected to be back at this one. He's priced up at 7-1. He's going to shoot a ton, and he definitely makes sense. And then you got Michael Carter-Williams, Dwayne Bacon, Okeke, Wendell Carter Jr., finally going to be playing some minutes. Made his debut on Sunday, played 20 minutes or so. Same rule applies for Otto Porter Jr. As far as how much he played like 25 minutes. So they're going to kind of affect this Orlando rotation a little bit in a negative way as far as like being able to play some of these cheaper guys. Mo Bamba, priced at 4.9, was a guy that I was really excited to see get some more minutes with there being no more Nikola Vucevic, but hasn't seen a ton more minutes. Put up 17 minutes, put up 30 DraftKings points last time out, and that's exactly what I was talking about the first time out. I really think he's going to have some big games, so still have no issues with you playing him. Atlanta taking on Phoenix. Last game on the slate. Trae Young comes in with a 9K price tag. This game comes in with a 222.5 over under with a 6.5 point spread in favor of the Phoenix Suns. Not exactly the most up-tempo game, but none of these games really are outside of the Charlotte, Washington, so just keep that in mind. It's only a 4-game slate. Kind of got to play the best plays on the slate, and you're working with what you got. So, Trae Young, Clint Capella, John Collins, top 3 guys on the Atlanta side, obviously. As far as my favorite option in this particular matchup, it probably would be Clint Capella. I'm not worried about DeAndre Ayton's defense, and down low, Clint Capella could definitely make his presence felt. He's only 7.4. I do think that that's too cheap at his price tag. John Collins, a little more inconsistent, but does have a ton of upside as well. I kind of think that Clint Capella hasn't had a big game in a while. He's due for one Well, he did put up 53 and 47 DraftKings points in 2 of his last 3, so I should just say that. I guess last time I was a little disappointing at 22 DraftKings points, and that game was mainly that was because of a blowout. So, point being, I think he's in a good spot for a bounce back after that 22-point performance. That wouldn't scare me off him. And then you're looking to guys like Danilo Gallinari, Bogdanovic. Both these guys continuing to see, fairly decent minutes. Specifically, Bogdanovic has really seen a tick up in minutes recently. But also, it's kind of reliant upon game script when it comes to him. So, a little bit risky. There has been no Cam Reddish. And then Lou Williams, DeAndre Hunter also listed as questionable. Those guys being in or out will affect the rotation as well. If Lou Williams is on this team at 4-5, I do think that he's too cheap. Hasn't really gotten to see a lot of minutes on the Los Angeles Clippers team, which was a lot of a deeper depth chart, a lot deeper rotation. And I tend to think that Lou Williams is going to shine in his new role on Atlanta, at least fantasy-wise, at 4-5. I have no issue with going to him. And then on the Phoenix side, it's Chris Paul to start for me, 8K. I just think he has the points upside. He's pretty good rebounder for a point guard, and he has the assists upside. Devin Booker, much more scoring reliant. He can put up a very big game, but it's going to be mostly through points. As we saw last time, he put up 35 real-life points, only put up 51 DraftKings points. I mean, 51 DraftKings points is great, but when you factor in that he had 35 real-life points, he didn't really do a lot of other stuff. 2 steals, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. I mean, decent, but you're out there on the floor for 42 minutes. That's not the greatest in the world outside of scoring. So you get the point. And then as far as anyone else, DeAndre Ayton, not exactly the best matchup taking on Clint Capella, so decent play, but I will say his price tag is only 6'4" is the thing. Even though that's not the best matchup, that's a pretty cheap price tag. In the mid-6K range for a starting center that's expected to get 30 minutes, it's not really too expensive. So I definitely have some interest in him based on that fact alone. And then Jay Crowder at 4'9" continues to be a guy that gets some decent minutes on this team and is a interesting target every night out. Hasn't had a big game in a long time, putting up 23, 28, 23, and 18 DraftKings points, but he's been consistently playing like 30 to mid-30 minutes, so he's due for a big game eventually here, and the Atlanta matchup is definitely one that he could have a big one. So that is all from me in this 4-game slate breakdown. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Dwight Howard at this 5'8" price tag, taking on this Denver squad. As mentioned, has got ejected the last few times out. If he can just stay on the floor, this guy is a tremendous fantasy point per minute producer. Currently at his 5'8" price tag has been producing a 1.16 DK point per minute clip. And if he can just stay in the game, they're going to need his defense taking on the likes of Nikola Jokic. There is no more Tony Bradley. I think that's going to help take away the threat of his minutes being threatened. So Dwight Howard at 5'8", look for a bounce back game, taking a risk, going all in on the guy that's burnt everyone the last 2 times out. Hopefully the coaching staff isn't disappointed with him and his minutes are not affected, because Dwight Howard is my lock of the night. So there you have it, guys. Dwight Howard, get him in your lineups. And that is all for me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. I would greatly appreciate that. I wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.